Hello again. So in this video, we're going to look at your healing of these patterns and see it that it's, because it can seem self-absorbed and you're spending all your time reflecting on you and your patterns and your family and your ancestors. But actually, I actually see it as social activism because the more we can clear of our inherited family field, and it is our family field, and the family field doesn't end with just the little nuclear family, it's outside of time and space as well. And what I want to leave you in this last video, I want to leave you with this. When you do your healing work, you're not just doing it for yourself. The healing work that I do, I consider I am doing that for my children, my grown-up children who have inherited things from me that is not theirs, because I inherited it from my parents that I didn't know actually, but I inherited it just the same, and from the generations before and the generations before. And I've lived long enough to see things playing out in my adult children's life, and it goes on. So you're doing it for every ancestor who couldn't do it, who didn't have the safety or the support or the language or the luxury of time and energy to do it. And you're doing it for every descendant who won't have to because you broke the chain. So the grief that your grandmother couldn't express because it wasn't she, like for example, my mother grew up in an industrial school in the west of Ireland from she was 2 years old. Well, she was hardly allowed to think her own thoughts, and they had work to do every day. They were institutionalized. Their whole lives were planned out. That there was what they were, what they weren't allowed to say, what they weren't allowed to do, where they weren't allowed to do to go, activities they couldn't or had no permission or access to. Their lives were very restricted and constrained. And there's a lot of those feelings pass on. And then we impose them on ourselves and think it's just me. And why do I always stop myself from doing things that I would love to do, but somehow I don't do it? We finish up sabotaging ourselves. So there's the restrictions and the constraints, and there's the sadnesses and there's the losses, and you can grieve it. And the truth your grandfather couldn't speak, you can speak it. And the freedom that your great great grandmother absolutely could not claim, you can claim it for yourself and for her. Think of the freedom we have today, that even like I can say, as a young woman, I didn't have a whole lot of freedom that I have this day, like 50 years on. And certainly women of the generations previous to me, they couldn't vote, they couldn't buy a house, they couldn't travel freely. They were very restricted. So, you can claim that freedom for them, for yourself. And that's not just therapeutic, it's activism. And it's a good activism. And it's not selfish and it's not self-absorbed. It may look to the outsider's judgment that it's self-absorbed. But whatever you heal or clear in yourself, you're clearing it in the field, and you're preventing it from passing on to the next generations. And that's love extended through time. And, I would suggest, if you haven't seen the full series, watch the full series from part one and link in the bio for more. And if you want to, dig into this in company, there is a blueprint, Conscious Ancestor blueprint, that you can sign up to. And I look forward to seeing you in other kind of related videos and playlists. So bye for now. Bye.